and welcome to a brand new Five Heart Podcast live on YouTube, on Facebook, and of course, on X. I'm your host, Greg Mahachko. Joining me is my co-host, co-pilot, great friend, the incomparable Minnie Hunt. Hello, Minnie. How are you doing tonight?
Thank you. I am great. Thanks to that wonderful introduction. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing great. Freezing my ass off, but I'm doing great.
Yeah, I hate to tell you what the weather was like here.
Please don't. I feel like it's just gonna make me mad.
Yeah. What's it doing in Belleville? Belleville? Illinois.
So we had a snow day yesterday, to give you any indication. Right now
tell
it
us
is
about that.
12 degrees and feels like 0. Now, that is not as cold as I've heard it. I'm sure BFOTS Josh Hansen has been experiencing much colder temperatures. I talked earlier today with Haas, and he said that his place of employment, they have been shut down for about a week because of the extreme cold.
Oh my gosh, look at this.
Rough.
Yeah, Beetle B says it's 5 degrees in Lincoln. 5?
It's cold.
I wouldn't even go outside. Pit Snipe Husker says -3. What? Guys, I hate to tell you this.
Don't do it. Don't do it. You're just going to make everybody mad.
It was 76 degrees here today.
Jeez.
Yeah. And yesterday I was up north. I was skiing, and it was gorgeous, like 40-ish degrees. I want to say sun shining, just beautiful.
James Boardman says that my 12 degrees is a heat wave. Fred says it was -11 or so for a while. It got all the way up to 0 and then almost 9.
That's so my. What do you guys do when it's that cold? Do you even go outside?
If you have to. Like I went out yesterday and yesterday morning it was after, so again, snow day. So Garrett and Robert didn't have school, and while technically daycare was open for Matthew, I was like, I'm not going to get up extra early to take one of my children where they need to go. So after breakfast for the boys, I went out and got the snowblower out and cleared off the driveway and shoveled the front walk because I was expecting a package from Home Depot. Made sure that the delivery guy didn't have any problem. So yeah, and then I took them over across town to their mom's house so that I could go to work. I had some afternoon stuff. So.
Oh, okay. Well, Fred says when it's that cold, yeah, he usually will put on a windbreaker and maybe a hat.
That sounds about like Fred, honestly. Fred's crazy and irrational.
I guess your blood thickens when you live in those kind of temps.
Wade says when Greg colors his hair, it is a cold day in hell. That's not happening. Like, I'm not. That's a temporary solution to a permanent problem. You know? It's like term life insurance. It's a temporary solution to a permanent problem. There's a good chance you're going to outlive that. Sorry, I'm done.
Oh my goodness. And then Beetle B comes in and says he usually wears 3 sets of underwear.
I'm seeing it now.
Do you mean long johns? 3 sets of long johns?
I have a feeling. Now, I don't know Beetle B from Adam, but I have a feeling banana hammock, traditional briefs, and boxers are the 3 sets of underwear.
3 different kinds.
Right. There's 3 sets. He didn't specify. So.
Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, I don't think I would even get out of bed if it was that cold.
It's not fun. I don't know if we talked about this.
Your bones are cold, right?
Right. Oh yeah, everything's cold. And if it's windy, it just cuts right through you. Back in year of our Lord 2015, when I was selling cars, the guy I knew from life previous, he started working there. He was actually he was the owner's son-in-law. Wonderful guy. He played college basketball and looked in great shape. And I remember it was right around my birthday of 2015. I said, Kenny, like, stupid question, but how do you stay in shape? He's like, I work for it. I get up 5 days a week and I go to the gym at 5 in the morning. I said, yeah, I'm going to start doing that. And I did. I did for months, probably about 4 months. I was in the gym 5
You went to the gym
5 mornings a week with him. We usually coordinate. It would be, get up, go to the gym with him. He goes to his house. I go to my house, shower, whatever, get cleaned up, and then go to work. See him there. And then November hit. And I was like, go out in the cold or stay in my warm bed. Go out in the cold or stay in my warm bed. So that was the end of my going to the gym at 5 in the morning.
Yeah, I can imagine. It's easy here because, the sun's shining. It makes you want to get outside. Birds are singing. I can't imagine it when it's that cold. So Fred Sacco says, I feel uncomfortable the level of detail Greg's imagination has for Beetlejuice undergarments. And I did too. I was kind of concerned.
It's not uncomfortability from Fred. It's thinly veiled jealousy. Like, he really wishes that I was putting that much
I'm sure
thought into his underwear. But we all know Fred doesn't wear underwear. So,
oh my goodness gracious.
It's going to be a fun show. We haven't even started. Beetleby clarifies 3 pairs of long johns. That's the fact. I mean, you got to.
That's what I would imagine. Yeah.
Carl votes for Greg to go full caveman beard.
Yeah.
No.
Caveman beard, meaning you're growing it out, like you could braid it.
Probably. I mean, you'd be like,
just okay, great.
Unkempt.
I'm going to start the show off 7 minutes in, and I'm gonna challenge you. Okay.
Okay.
With this full caveman beard. No. Go back to that comment.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. You ready for this?
For the challenge?
Yeah. Whoa. Okay. The challenge is, this article appeared in Sports Illustrated, and it said Big Ten football, 3 teams that are, I can't read it.
Dark horse.
Dark horses. Yes. And guess who is the first picture you see?
I'm guessing Nebraska.
Yes, Nebraska. And in fact, they were listed as number 1 for the dark horse.
Interesting.
And for 2025, to go to the playoffs. Go to the playoffs.
Right, not win, okay? Just attend.
This is the article.
You want me to read that to the good people?
You can read it, yes.
With the return of starting quarterback Heinrich Haarberg, along with a somewhat favorable schedule that avoids matchups against Ohio State and Oregon, the Cornhuskers could certainly achieve 10 wins in the regular season. During his time at Temple, head coach Matt Rule achieved his first breakthrough season in year 3, helping the Owls reach 10 wins. During his time at Baylor, Rule took the Bears from a 1-win season to an 11-win season in year 3. Given the weapons he has in Lincoln, mostly quarterback Heinrich Haarberg, it wouldn't be all that surprising to see Rule produce the same result at Nebraska in 2025. Courtesy of Heinrich Haarberg, number 1 QB.
Tight end. Don't forget that. He's a tight end now. But
QB1.
I love that, other people around college football are circling us. I mean, playoff contenders.
Would you rather, this isn't a drinking game, would you rather be looked at as more of an underdog, less expectations, or the fact that, some talking heads are saying this could be the year Nebraska breaks through, yada, yada, yada. Where would you rather, what would your preference be in the off season?
I've never experienced anything other than being the underdog. And I have this idea that, I'm probably going to offend most of the people in chat. Sorry, guys. Holgormaniacs, I mean.
Wait, I'm sorry. Who?
the Holgormaniacs.
The whole. The Holgormaniacs, brother.
So I have this theory that, everybody looks back on things with rose-colored glasses. Okay. Just stick with me, guys.
I'm listening.
And you know how in the 90s, how dominant we were as a football team, right?
I
I just kind of feel like perhaps those days will never return quite to that glory. That you guys, I just no, hear me out. Because of the way that college football has changed, okay? And it's an ever-changing landscape. It's basically year by year. Even, okay, Scott Frost did an interview recently, head coach, UCF, right? And he said, your team changes year to year now. It's not the same team every single year. And isn't that something that Deion Sanders was talking about when he first came to Colorado? He wiped the slate clean, started over, and he's like, just kind of cycling through players. I think he was onto something. And I know that's not how we want things. Okay? I know that's not how we want things, but things are changing. Don't. Okay, do you want to get to the dare or the
I was wondering
challenge?
when we were going to get there.
Okay, if we do get to the 2025 playoffs, okay, we'll do. You can say what I need to do, although I have to agree. Okay,
Does that mean I have to agree?
Yeah, caveman beard. I'm sure you're okay with that. Come on.
I remember I tried the beard like around Christmas time, and about 2.5, 3 weeks. I'm like, no, this got to go.
Who cares?
Okay.
You got to go with it. Okay, 2 inches, 3 inches. Yes. 2 inches. 2-inch beard all the way around.
If we make it to the playoffs, you know what? How long do I have to keep it?
Through the playoffs.
Through the playoffs or through Nebraska's time in the playoffs?
Nebraska's time. I
mean, realistically, from the time Nebraska qualifies to the playoffs, I mean, it's not like instant 2-inch beards. Like it's going to take to the time of the playoffs to grow the beard.
I don't think it would take you long to grow a 2-inch beard.
Okay. I will tell you what, under those terms, I will agree to grow the beard
to 2 inches.
When Nebraska makes it to the playoff. Now, if they win the whole damn thing, I guess I have to keep the beard until next year. I mean, how does that? I don't even know.
No, you can. I mean, we will let the good folks of the Holgormaniacs decide when you can shave it. Okay.
Who are they again? No, okay,
no, we're not going to do that. Is that fair?
You know what? I'm all right with those terms. Nebraska makes it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
We have to remember this conversation. February 20th, 2025. I know you will. I won't. February 20th, 2025. Greg agrees to a full beard when Nebraska makes the 2025 college football playoffs. You know what?
Very nice. What?
This whole challenging, etc. It's got me thinking. And you know what that means, Minnie?
Yeah.
What's Greg drinking today? What's Greg drinking today? Whoa. He's drinking the same thing he's got in his beer fridge. Oh, I love having a beer fridge, everybody. America's oldest brewery. Now available on tap in Illinois. I could go to my favorite pizza place in town and have a Yingling and a Hawaiian hog pizza. It's a great day to be alive.
Okay. So Vince Watson says ZZ Top Beard. I have a feeling, just saying, again, the Holgormaniacs, I have a feeling that we are fans of full beards for the most part in the Holgormaniacs. Yes?
Where's Aaron Keene? He's got the full beard.
Raise your hand if you have a full beard.
Raise your hand if you have a beard at all. Raise your hand if you have any facial hair.
I have lots of beards.
Fred says one better college football playoff, and Greg gets the Dave Remington perm.
Oh,
I don't know if I could do that.
I mean, that would be interesting.
I don't know if, I'm already ready for a haircut. So I don't know if I could. Okay,
getting back to us being playoff contenders.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about those apples?
I'm fine with it. I think if anything, I'd rather have lower national expectations. Like if you're in-house, if you're in state, and you are ready for that return to glory, so to speak. But I guess if they're looking at this as a dark horse, that's still, outside chance. But I don't know. I still like the outside perception that Nebraska is not back yet. I guess for me, I'd rather have nobody believe in us but us. And then I don't know, then just, shock the country, shock the college football world, if you will.
I do too. I mean, I like the idea. And I think it's going to happen regardless. I think there's going to be people who will be like, I told you Nebraska is back. Like, people who say we have a chance, they give us a nod out of respect, right? But we know what's up. Okay. Do you see how many people have dot wheels? This is so dumb. I'm sorry. This is not your cup of tea.
I think, Dot came here expecting Nebraska athletics talk, not facial hair. And
we talk a lot about Nebraska sports, college football, and Greg, things going on with Greg. So
and at the same time,
the show.
It's the off season. So hopefully that stuck around, because we actually did get into, again, our mentality as fans, or at least as hosts of this show.
Here's how we look at things. Sorry, I cut you off.
I'm used to it by now.
No, you go ahead first. Go.
I'm done. Carry on.
Did you have something really you wanted to say?
No, I'm good.
Okay. You know how when you absorb so much stuff in one particular hobby, let's say you're a fanatic about drinking Yingling beer. Okay.
That's me. You're talking about me.
Yeah. You probably don't go a day without thinking about a Yingling beer or talking about a Yingling beer. You're like a sponge. Just like, a Yingling on Thursday night, that's going to be really good. Right? You soak it up and then but there's other things in life too. Like, obviously, caveman beards, mullets, and college football.
Yeah. We Dot, stay with us. Over the course of the next 2 hours, you're going to be entertained and you're going to be educated, and that's okay. James hits the nail on the head. This might be, if you were going to elevator speech the Five Heart podcast to someone unfamiliar, James says, if this was strictly Husker talk, it would be a 15-minute show. Truer words, I don't think, exist on the internet than that right there. James, thank you.
Okay, me either. And Joseph Doherty has brought up Husker wrestling twice now. Yes, we are kicking some butt with Husker wrestling.
You can say ass. We're all adults here.
I actually can't. I can't.
Wait, now you can't say moist. You can't say groin. You can't say poised. Now you can't say ass.
I can sometimes. I just don't normally. It's not.
You're too much of a lady for.
I am for you guys for sure. This is true.
So I want to say before you take that comment down.
Oh, sorry,
Joseph. I don't know if you ever follow Coordination on other social media like Facebook, or if you ever just venture over to coordination.com. But I've said this about volleyball. I'll say this about wrestling. Coordination has the preeminent beat writer for Husker wrestling in Dylan, and he also writes for Flow Wrestling, so he kind of cross covers, cross promotes some of the most phenomenal match by match breakdowns. And I have reached out to him. He's very busy with his actual job and his family and things like that. We tend to get him on, as we get into Big Ten tournament and NCAA tournament time. It's getting close to that. So hopefully in the next week or two, we can get Dylan on the show. That might mean we have to pre-record something and get it out there outside of the 5 Heart time. But it's.
I can add a little to this because somebody else had mentioned it on Monday nights that they wanted to do they wanted to hear more about wrestling. And it just so happens, guys, this is news to Greg. I haven't even told Greg yet.
What?
I feel like this needs a drum roll. This needs a big song introduction. Greg, can you just come up with a little ditty what's many surprises?
I'll do that.
Okay.
Hold on. Here, we're gonna go to a single. What's Minnie's big shock tonight? What's big? What shit? Hold on. Let me try that again. Thank you, Justin. Minnie's big surprise. Minnie's big surprise. It's time.
Okay. On Monday night. What did you do?
I'm trying to give you a single.
Okay. No, because I want to see your face. They want to see your face. Okay. Monday night. First time in the history of Coordination, we are going to have a special guest from our live chat. His name is Fred Zacco.
No.
Yes. And guess what? Yeah.
Is
Fred used to wrestle. So I'm sure we'll be talking wrestling on Monday night.
Now, hold on.
Yes.
Wrestling is different from wrestling.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it really?
Wrestling is what Dylan covers for Coordination. Wrestling is what you see on Netflix with WWE and things like that, or in bingo halls or high school gyms. That's wrestling. Wrestling is the legitimate stuff that we have the best coverage of.
Yes. Well, I don't know what the real difference is, but I do know
one allows steel chairs and the other one doesn't.
Fred's going to be a part of it. I'm sure he'll talk wrestling because he was a wrestler back in the day. And this is going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you guys tune in. You will probably even watch.
I'm going to watch that early for that one. So
I know.
Oh, Fred, be prepared to be interrupted a lot. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And what better way than 28 minutes into our show to promote your other show.
Why not? Hey, I wanted to talk somewhat about wrestling.
Are we going to talk about Tyson Terry, who's 2 wins away from 4th title, and we've had that comment up there forever?
I guess we just did. Yeah,
Cool.
no, he is like, I read that somewhere and I can't remember where, and I didn't clip anything for it because this is Greg's show.
Whoa, hold on.
I'm not going to put the comment up there, but Fred Sacco says that you're going to be in the middle of the Murder She Wrote marathon.
I've never watched an episode
on Monday
all the way through.
Oh, you've missed out.
So, you know who Tyson Terry is, right?
Yes.
Okay, just making sure. Did you know that he's 166-0 in his high school wrestling? I'm sorry, 167-0 in his high school wrestling career.
High school?
Yeah, he's in Omaha. He's at Omaha North.
Oh.
He's a commit. He's going to join Nebraska. He's a 4-star defensive tackle from Omaha.
Okay.
Who's going to Omaha North, technically, who's going to be a Husker. But right now he's on his way to a 4-peat.
Oh, my.
That's what Vince Watson said.
This is not what I was. Yeah. Yeah. What is the deal there? I wonder.
It's not a ceiling vent. Or wait, that? Hold on. Oh yeah, because I can't see it because the live thing is covered up. So all right, let's see what I can do. Just for you, Wade.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be saying that if that was a food light, though. What, Minnie?
Yeah, now people aren't like, where's Greg? And because you were like all small. Now we're like the same size. Of course, you lean in like this.
I do.
You're like really close.
You want me to sit back like this and
No.
I'm a leaner. What can I say?
It's okay.
All right, there you go. Wade, I'm happy to get that done for you. I don't want anybody to think that their screen is cracked. So.
Okay, Greg.
Where are we going next, Minnie?
Do you really want me to run the show? Because I'm happy to. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get a format this week, so I don't know what's going on. I mean, I don't look at the format when I do get it, so I don't know what.
Yeah. Okay. So we found out that we're going to have an X's and O's coaching clinic again, April 4th and 5th. Yes, I was so looking forward to this. But if you'll notice, Matt Rule's not part of it.
Well, but look who is. Look who is.
I know. John Cook is.
John M. Effin Cook.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
One last trip before he rides off into the sunset.
I mean, it's going to be pretty great. But all the assistant coaches for football are on there. Even Marcus Satterfield.
Well, somebody's got to be the example of what not to do as an offensive coordinator. Who is I can't read it because, eyes are bad. Who's the other keynote speaker?
Tim Polasek.
Okay.
I don't know who he is. I don't either. Awesome. Yeah. But at least, because I was getting worried that things were not, I just was worried that things weren't going. We hadn't heard anything about any clinics coming up. Remember, by this time last year, we knew what was going on, how many camps were getting put on by Matt Rule, and we hadn't heard anything yet.
It's not right.
So I was a little concerned. But to be fair, Matt Rule has had a full plate since the bowl game. I mean, he's hired coaches. He's had to, go and do transfer portal. What?
Fred's
Why are you shaking?
comment at 9:34. It's very Fred-like.
Okay.
That's the kind of stuff you need to get ready for Monday.
Okay, so Tim Polasek is he the head coach at NDSU, North Dakota State? Yes, he is. Okay, that's who he is.
That's who he is. Young coach. He's 45.
Yeah. Okay. I'm sure he's great if Matt Rule has him be a part of this. I would love to go to one of these clinics. I should have went last year. Bill Belichick. That would have been so good.
Do you think I'm gonna poke the bear? Is Bill Belichick as good as everybody says he is, or did he get exposed when Tom Brady left? Because he was not as successful without Tom Brady.
Okay, Greg, here's the thing I do know. I'm not a big fan of Deion Sanders.
Oh.
As the player, yes. As the coach, no.
Okay.
You know how he said, I'm not visiting anybody's high school and I'm not making any in-home visits? Do you know the very first month that Bill Belichick was the head coach that he visited all the high schools that he could?
I did not know that.
That is somebody who doesn't take success for granted, who works for it. And I like that. That speaks volumes to me. So I'm not very sure about his NFL career, but I do know that he's a legend. And I also know that he's already doing the right things in college football. What do you think? Obviously, you have a different opinion.
I hate Tom Brady, hate Bill Belichick, hate everything New England stands for. And while I don't wish them personal harm, it's not my way. I would have been happy if everybody involved would have just ridden off into the sunset onto a desert island and fucked off. Never to be heard from again.
And Joseph left us because that was the only wrestling talk he got to hear. He's like, dang it, guys. All right. Tune in on Monday. You'll hear more, I promise. And Bill Belichick. You think everybody is... Why do you hate that? Hate? It's such a strong word.
Hate.
How can you hate these people?
Despise?
Why, Greg?
Loathe entirely.
That doesn't make any sense.
Well, it does. It doesn't to you because you don't. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but like you don't follow the NFL. You don't care about the NFL, right?
Correct.
So before I was a Husker fan, I was and still am a devoted, devout Steelers fan. And it would be like equate the Steelers and the Huskers, if you will, and then equate, with the exception of, I guess, last year, the Huskers in Wisconsin, where every year we went up, whether we played great or whether we played like shit, we lost. Sometimes we lost in overtime in heartbreaking fashion. Sometimes we got our brains beat in a Big Ten championship. It's like that. I hate them because a lot of times in the playoffs it came down to Pittsburgh and New England, and it never went Pittsburgh's way. I also hate that a lot of rules got changed to benefit the Patriots, like the Tuck rule. There's a lot of there's Deflategate, there's Spygate. There's a lot of reasons to hate the New England Patriots without me putting a tinfoil hat on. I just hate them all. I hate everybody associated with that organization. I can't say a nice thing about New England.
Okay. Wade Farr, I think he might agree with you because he says Bill taught Michigan to cheat. And if that is the case, if that is the reality, then I may not like him as much either. But I hate is such a strong word. I don't think I could use that. But I get where you're coming from. I also am curious how many people that are watching now are NFL fans, because I have a feeling that there's not many. I feel like college football fans are a different breed than NFL fans.
I don't disagree.
You either are watching games on Saturday or you're watching games on Sunday. Is that right? I'm just curious because I could care less about the NFL unless it has a Husker that was pretty good or even just doing something in the NFL, then I care about it. But other than that, I'm not an NFL fan.
Yeah, we'll talk about. I don't know if like you and I talked briefly before the show about how I feel unprepared. So I don't know if we'll get to the Pro Big Red topic tonight that I'd hoped.
Yes,
but
we have to. Was that your laundry?
Yeah, that's my washer or dryer.
It sings to you?
I put the volume all the way up so I can hear it upstairs, and usually I can.
Yeah.
And it's not harsh. It's not harsh.
I love appliances that sing. They're my favorite. I love it.
So I forgot where I was talking about.
NFL. Pro Big Red.
Oh yeah. So I don't know. I'm not as prepared for that topic tonight as I'd hoped to be.
It doesn't matter. We still have to talk about it. It's big. It's big news.
Okay.
Plus, you have a graphic.
I have one. I don't have all, but I have one. I can talk about a couple of players, not all of them. I'll do my best when we get to that part of the show. So, yeah. Pitt, you had me greggling frantically to see if there was any truth to your comments, and you're lucky that there's not. So, be enough out of you, sir.
Oh, look at this. Melissa's a Steelers fan too, but not too much into the NFL.
See, Melissa's smart.
You guys, I have a confession to make. When I was a young lady learning how to drive, my dad is from Pennsylvania, so he had bought a Ford F-150 pickup truck after the Steelers won the Super Bowl in 1975, and he ran out and bought it right after they won, and it was Pittsburgh Steelers gold.
Nice.
And it was one of those that was the straight drive, you had a lot of room between shifting. And that's the truck that he made me learn on, because he's like, if you can drive this, you can drive anything. Of course, now you don't have to drive things that you shift in. But so if I were an NFL fan, I guess I would also be a Steelers fan, right? Because that's how it works.
This is a glorious day.
Oh, no. No. Really?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes. I've had this wonderful blanket for, since I was a teenager. So it's been in 3 states with me and probably 8 different residences. So.
Oh.
My oldest
you keep things for a long time. It's your blankie. Vince Watson says it's harder to stalk NFL players. They have security. We understand, Minnie. I mean, don't know. I guess so. I guess you're
I was
right.
waiting for I was waiting for a denial. The denial did not come.
I hadn't considered that.
All right, Minnie, where are we going next?
Well, Greg, the next thing I have is, hopefully this will work.
Also, how did I not get a format for this week's show?
I hate to tell you this. I was traveling.
Okay? Oh, that's right. You said you went skiing.
One.
You're off the. You're off the. I'm sorry.
I didn't do one, but I know what we're talking about. You just have to follow along.
I'll do that. I'm gonna sit here and be seen and not heard.
No, come on.
Well, I didn't mean it that
Don't do that. Okay, so I saw this yesterday, and my jaw kind of dropped, and I'll tell you why. Okay, on Monday, I got to go to the Huskers baseball game against GCU. Okay, and the tickets we were given were from. It's gonna follow me. I'm sorry. This is a long kind of story. My oldest daughter is dating a boy who plays baseball. Okay. And one of his good friends, guess what his name is? The good friend. His name is Chopper. Chopper. Okay. But that's a real name.
What does this have to do with our graphic?
Give me 1 second.
Okay.
Chopper's brother was the starting pitcher for GCU. So Chopper gave us tickets to go to the game. And when I met Chopper for the first time, I look at him, and first of all, you know who I thought he was? When I first looked at his face, I thought, oh, he looks just like James Williams.
Boo.
Now boo, yes. And I said, why are you wearing a Wisconsin Badgers sweatshirt? And he goes, well, because I'm like, do you like their baseball team or something? He goes, I like their football team. I kid you not. A kid in Phoenix, Arizona, likes Wisconsin's football. Random as it gets, I know. And so I said to him, I'm not even going to touch that right now. I'm going to be nice. Because Wisconsin, I mean, they haven't been good at all. And what Luke Fickell has done, he's a hothead, number one. Number two, he's like 13-13 for his win-loss record. 8-10 for his conference record. Like, he's not.
Yeah, but Nebraska's.
Don't. We're actually doing okay now.
I'm just doing the math, though. They're 13-13 overall under Luke Fickell, right? No. Yeah? No.
13-13. 13-13.
Okay. And Nebraska's 12-13.
Yeah, but there's a big difference. Our head coach is now being more of a CEO. He actually is great at that role. Luke Fickell thinks that he can coach everything.
I do feel like there's probably greater optimism among Husker fans, and I do think that Nebraska is on an upward trajectory, whereas Wisconsin's, I mean, you looking at this graphic that you shared 8 or 10 minutes ago here, social media reacts harshly to Wisconsin coach Luke Fickell's routine contract extension. Now, Matt Rule has not received a contract extension since he's been here, but he was given a 7 or 8 year contract. So I don't know if one's deemed worthy just yet. And no offense to Matt Rule, because I believe in him. I'm a Matt Rule guy, but the on the field results have not indicated that a contract extension is warranted yet. That's not me being negative. That's just me being honest. I still feel like if nothing else changes, Nebraska has a higher ceiling than Wisconsin. Nebraska has a greater chance at sustained success moving forward under these two regimes. Like I said a couple weeks ago, I think Matt Rule at Nebraska is at a better place than Kalen DeBoer at Alabama. And again, a lot of that is I was relitigating that in my mind. A lot of that is the fact that Alabama's won some championships recently, and so I don't know how long the fans and the administration will put up with more seasons like they had in 2024. The fact that Nebraska has, by and large, sucked for the last 2 decades or in change means that I think Matt Rule's got some breathing room. He has some time to build things back up.
That's exactly what I was going to say. That last part. You guys, only because I know for a fact how bad we have had it. Because that's the entire time I've been a fan. That's all I've known. That's it. And I feel like at least Wisconsin had what?
I said, now we know who to blame.
No, at least Wisconsin had Brett Bielema. He was winning. And, I just feel like there's no cause. Stop. There's no cause for him to have an extension of 7 years. 7 years?
Yeah. There's no high school recruit that you're going to go look at, this year or next year that you need to worry about a window beyond 7 years, so.
I guess they're all in on him. But boy, I would not, geez. Remember how fiery he got with his, offensive coordinator this past season? And they had, you don't remember that?
I don't remember much.
Yeah, he got really, let him go. Okay, game played Saturday.
Yep.
They had a conversation Saturday night. He released to everyone that coach and him had parted ways. And when questioned about it, which, reporters will do, he was ticked off on Monday's press conference at how everybody wanted to ask questions and focus on that. And he's just like, I'm making the play calls. So what?
I do remember that now, yeah.
We can all do that. Like, making it seem like it. It was pretty obvious that he had lost his cool with that coach. And that's why he wasn't there.
Yeah, will you read Wade's comment, please?
Yeah, I do remember. Okay, Wade Farr. Remember when Nebraska wanted to hire Fickle?
Petbridge Farm remembers.
Mm-hmm.
Carl Pence says, Greg, the Board of Regents and the Husker boosters have rule on short leash. Another 7-6 season equals fired, from what I've heard. That I'll say this, Carl, and I'm not disputing your claim. I don't know. I think it'd take Matt Rule's track record indicates that the third years, we talked about it earlier, in the article clip that you shared, 10, 11 wins in the third year, the schedule being favorable for 9, 10 wins this season. We would have to drop off pretty significantly from last year. And look, I also don't think that, if you go out, win 9, 10, or 11 games in the regular season in 2025, and then, you fall off and go 7-5 in 2026. I still don't think that that's caused. We're seeking consistency. We're never going to have consistency if we're firing coaches after 3, 4, or 5 years. You know, yeah.
But sometimes you just have the wrong guy in there. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. HCSF was not
Not
the
that
right
Matt
guy.
Rule is. Not that Matt Rule was.
Mike Riley
Is.
was not the right guy. Mike Riley was, and
That's what I'm saying.
I have used this analogy, and I'll say it again. Mike Riley was the lemon sorbet that you have to cleanse your palate between courses of a meal. He was the palate cleanser from Bo Pelini because he was Mr. Rogers to Bo Pelini's, fiery, hot-headed sideline persona. And then they brought back HCSF with the hope that, the hometown boy coming back, with a little bit of success, the small sample size he had at Central Florida. And it didn't work. It didn't work. If anything, he probably had a year too many. But a lot of that was self-inflicted. Matt Rule's not immature in that way. And Matt Rule has, I think, done a good job, especially in the last few months, of bringing people, putting people on the coaching staff who are not his friends. He's I don't want to use the word diversify, but I don't know a better word. I think he's like Dana Holgorsen. I mean, he's bringing in guys who I think to a point can challenge him a little bit, who can, get the best out of the positions that they're coaching. And I think Nebraska is poised for 8+ wins next year. Minnie, would you say that they are poised for 8+ wins next year?
I'd say look more towards 10. And here's the hot take from that thing that you just said. Okay? The one thing that I totally agree with. Remember when we were talking about how most things in life, it's great to have loyalty, but hiring your best friends in college football is not one of them. You need coaches that bring something to the table that you don't. You need coaches that view things differently, but also kind of align with your values. And that requires you going outside of your circle to do that. Matt Rule has definitely done a 180 on our coaching staff. And that was also something that Scott Frost brought up in this interview that he did, because he was not looking for a head coaching job. And he said, it actually challenged me, and I had to go outside of people I knew and really just hire the best guy for the job. Imagine that, not hiring your friends like Eric Chernander.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those types of mistakes as a head coach can't be made. There's too much money involved.
Right. It's not, it's not the olden days anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Wade says Nebraska wins depending on if we can afford to pay better than other teams are paying for the refs. No, we're not the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay. We can do it the right way. Let's see. Fred says anything less than 8 wins is a failure. I wouldn't want Rule fired, but I'd be pissed. Vince says Vegas has Nebraska win set at 7.5. Why are we still paying Satterfield $1.4 million? Because I don't think he's going to voluntarily hand over half of his contract. And that he's going to be here until the end of his contract, and then he'll get a pay decrease or whatever at his next job. Like nobody's going to pay him $1.4 million again. Yeah, I mean it's unfortunate he's getting paid offensive coordinator still, but
also he does have to coach Heinrich Harburg,
which is a shame because Heinrich Harburg's QB1.
No,
in my heart, my 5 heart.
Quite likely going to be tight end 1. I can't wait to see what he does as a tight end. He's definitely more draftable as a tight end. I mean, you would have to agree with that than a quarterback. You'd have to agree with that. Even you would have to. His body type, that's exactly what the NFL's looking for.
He reminds me now.
This is awesome as a tight end. He's going to be so killer. I can't wait.
This is going to fire some people up because his body. He reminds me, honest to God, as a quarterback, of Cam Newton. Cam Newton won the Heisman. Ooh. Cam Newton, I believe, won an NCAA championship. Was maybe the top draft pick. But, yeah, I mean, come on.
Wow. Excuse me.
Then Cam Newton burned about every bridge he had in Carolina, is not in the league anymore, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah. Real muscular. I can see that. Mm-hmm.
That's what I look at as the muscularity.
What do you look at?
I don't know. I just thought they were about the same height.
Okay. Tall.
Fred says the main difference between DR and HH is HH dresses like a man.
Guys, come on. Come on. Really?
Thanks, Melissa.
It's called having your own style. Being a little different is actually a good thing. We don't want somebody who's just the same old, same old, same old.
No, why would we want a winner?
Stop. Dylan is a winner, and you know it.
Heinrich's also a winner, Minnie.
Actually, I think he's going to be amazing. Amazing. Hey, Greg, look at you. You put up a sign. I just noticed that. A little 5-heart sign.
I can't. There, it's back there.
Where did you get that awesomeness?
Where did I get it? Or when did I get it? It was given to me by a tremendous person the weekend of the Colorado game.
Wow. I wish I knew a tremendous person like that.
Well, you should look in the mirror.
Thank you. I love that. You put it out. Good going. Thank you.
All right, where are we going next?
Well, I think that's all I have. I mean, we could talk about baseball, but and basketball.
Well, tell me, you went to the game. How was the game? I mean, I know it didn't end up Nebraska's. It didn't end Nebraska's way, but you notoriously hate baseball. So, just how was the atmosphere? How was your experience at GCU? Okay,
I have to say, baseball is meant to be played during the day, not at night. Number one. That's my number one pet peeve with baseball. No, that's my number 2 pet peeve with baseball. My number 1 is that it normally goes too long. But this game in particular didn't, because guess what?
It was a quick game?
It was. Nebraska scored in the first inning, okay? We were up 1-0 till, I think, the 7th inning.
That sounds about right.
And, yeah, it was 3 up, 3 down. 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down, 3 up, 3 down. Nobody even hardly got on base. It was just like, but then our pitcher, forget his name, starts with an S. He was fantastic. Something happened and he hurt his hand. So he had to, he asked to get pulled, and they put in a backup that allowed some hitters on base. So then that guy gets pulled. Okay. And then we put in a third guy, and he was who?
They're not called backups. They're called relievers or relief pitchers.
Well, I don't know. But he was really good. But we were already down at that point. There was nothing more he could do. So yeah, we lost that game. But sitting there, the crowd full of Husker fans. I mean, red all over. I loved it. Concession lines were just chock full of us. Yeah, go ahead.
So you got the tickets from Chopper, who got them from his brother who plays at GCU. Did you have to sit in like the GCU family section or something? Or were you at least get to be around other Husker fans?
I mean, you're not gonna like my answer, but it wasn't a sold out game, so I just sat where I wanted.
Okay.
Is that fair?
Okay.
I don't normally do that. I normally sit in my assigned seat. But, it was one of those days. I had all three of my daughters with me. My youngest daughter has never even watched baseball, and she was not having it. But so I had to sit someplace that it was somewhat comfortable for her. And it was a great experience. We ended up having a lot of fun.
Good. Good.
Yeah. It reminded me of the days of playing softball. It really did. Sing it. Sing one of those days.
It's just one of those days when you don't want to wake up, get up. Everything is, and everybody sucks. You don't really know why, but you want to justify ripping someone's head off. No human contact, and if you interact, your life is on contract. Your best bet is to stay away, motherfucker. It's just one of those days. You're welcome, Fred.
I didn't know that. I thought, no, that, okay. My version of that song didn't go anything like that.
What version were you?
I don't know.
Were you thinking Break Stuff by Limp Bizkit? Because that's what Fred was wanting to hear.
No.
Is this what's gonna be like if are Fred and I switching roles on Monday night? Like I'm gonna be harassing everybody in the comments, and he's gonna be taking your shit?
Maybe. Fred's gonna be fun. I do know that, and I didn't know this. I should have known this because I try to pay attention to things that are written.
Very dangerous question, MK.
He does. He will. Yes. Make requests. He is happy to do those. He has a broadcasting degree from University of Nebraska in Omaha.
Who?
Our Fred.
I know that.
You did?
Yeah.
You knew that.
I don't think you realize that Fred and I email every week.
You knew it. Huh. Okay. Well, good to know. I didn't know.
See, you're surrounded by professionals, just so you know.
I know. Hey, guys. I'm a quick learner. I'll try and keep up. That's
only
all
taking
I can
her 14 months to. I don't know where we're going with that. Never mind. Moving
on. Yeah, be careful. Okay, so we have talked about baseball. They are in Louisiana right now.
Louisiana?
Which I just think, they have to travel so much right now. But their coach, Bolt, actually gave a press conference. And on Saturday, and we're on such a high note, but this is something we do need to talk about, how Greg Sharp passed away on Saturday. He was such a huge part of, all of our lives, but in particular, he loved baseball. And remember the baseball team, they had put the patch on the side of their hats last season. And when he passed away on Saturday, that the team said, we're playing for Sharp. And they beat Vandy that day. Well, Coach Bolt said in his press conference that they are dedicating, and this is going to give me chills, they're dedicating the season to Greg Sharp. I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I first saw the news. Actually, usually when there's like breaking Husker news, BFOTS Josh Hansen sends me a message, and I have seen it in our Coronation Slack chat room, but I don't immediately share it. I had sent him a message about that Saturday morning. He's like, "Well, that's some shitty news to wake up to," and he's not wrong. I didn't want to be like, the bearer of bad news, but I don't want him to see that stuff scrolling Facebook either. So, yeah, Greg Sharp was, the last 15 years, 17 years, something like that he gave, his, not just his voice, but his life to the Huskers in various sports over those years. And almost made it. I think this Saturday was his daughter's wedding that he was hoping to get to, and to get so close, it's cruel in a way that he'd be called. I'm a man of faith, so I say he'd be called to his eternal home. So close to that day, because I know he was really wanting to make it to February 22nd. But all his family was there. I think his wife, or maybe the family, put out a statement just so appreciative of Husker Nation, and how the fans united. I mean, we're a pretty divisive fan base. We eat our own tail sometimes. But the important things, I think we do a really good job of coming together, and when you see one of your own hurt like that, and dealing with what the Sharp family had to deal with, and just knowing, and a lot of people say that thoughts and prayers are an empty platitude. I disagree. I think it took a lot of effort, a lot of strength from him to get this far. Maybe some of that was bolstered by the hopes of goodwill and such that Husker fans passed along. He did all he could this past year or so. Didn't get to all the games, certainly, but
just even the fact that a lot of people will just kind of disappear, and you don't hear from them again, because they fight their own battle in private. Just even the fact that he was so willing to share so much with us and be there for us during all of the treatments and things that he was going through. We all saw his deterioration, his bodily deterioration, not mind, but that spoke, I think, volumes. And I love that he was a part of Husker Nation for so long, and he's one of the main reasons why I am a fan. So yeah, I think that it's so great that like Coach Bolt just came out and said, yeah, we're going to dedicate this season. What that means is there's high expectations, okay, for baseball.
I think, kind of to back up a little bit on what you said towards the beginning there is it would have been easy for him to retreat and say, I'm going to step aside and I'm going to, just kind of get out of the public eye and go through this treatment. And then we may have never seen or heard from him again. So I think that there's a certain strength and courage in battling, fighting this fight as publicly as he did. It takes a lot of strength and courage just to say, hey, you know what, I'm not at my best, but here's why, and so he's always going to be, Husker Chuck says, Greg Sharp belongs on the Mount Rushmore of Husker voices. It'd be tough to put him, as the GOAT, but it's also tough to say he's not, and he didn't have the luxury of being the voice of the Huskers in the great times. He was the voice of the Huskers in the mini Hunt years, we can say,
yes. Yes.
So it's if anything, we wish that he would have been around a couple more years just to see where this program is headed. Certainly, but at the end of the day, I was so glad that, they had that video that came out just a couple of weeks back about them dedicating the radio booth, to him, the Greg Sharp radio booth there, or announcer booth, however it's phrased, and the quote, his famous call of the Hail Mary against Northwestern. So I'm thankful that he got to be around for that. I wish, God dang, give the man 2 more weeks. Let him get to his daughter's wedding, because that was so important to him. So assuming that they didn't do, like a surprise, and maybe they did like a quick little private ceremony, to I don't know. I'm not privy to those conversations, but as wedding day approaches here on Saturday, I'll be thinking about the Sharp family again, because there's going to be a big hole there in their celebration. So
yes, yeah, that is the way that life isn't always fair. You can plan and prepare and do all the things, but sometimes it just doesn't work out the way you thought. But for sure, our thoughts are with that bride walking down the aisle on Saturday.
You know what?
For some reason, though,
this is going to be, I guess, a little bit lighter.
You're cutting me off now.
I know. Welcome to my world. No, but I hope that they don't have a stand-in for that. I hope that they give it kind of like.
They don't. Okay, come on.
No, I feel like the appropriate thing would be like the Sam Foltz treatment, where they said they put 10 men on the field, and that would be my hope.
Yes, I like that idea.
I feel like
I'm sure that is the case. I'm sure that is the case.
I wasn't trying to stir up controversy and upset anybody.
Well, can I just say one thing? It reminded me of a song, and since you're taking requests, Toby Keith, the song "All Gave Some Gave All."
I don't know if I know that song.
What? Oh, great.
Hold on.
No. You don't have time to learn it. It's okay. It's okay.
Surprised.
If you know the song, then I think that's kind of appropriate, because I feel like he gave it his all to the very end for Husker Nation, and
he did.
That's just commendable, and we can never rethank him as a fan base for what he's given us. Pretty cool.
And it's not, I'll be honest, that it's like the next person to sit in that chair, they're going to feel an immense an enormous amount of weight and I don't say burden, but to be the one who follows a legend is that's
well, Damon Benning has been working with him alongside him now for a couple of years, so he's one of my favorites as well, because I loved how he calls everybody has a nickname, and he used to call Greg Sharp G Sharp, Sharpie, hey G, and it's always like it sounds really way cooler than the way I can make it sound. But it's just like lightening their whole conversation, the way that he used to just come up with nicknames off the cuff like that. I loved it. So one of my favorite things.
I'm gonna throw this out there because
What?
Vince says big shoes to fill. I don't know if it would happen because the announcer that I'm going to say he's under contract with various entities doing a lot. We kind of got accustomed to seeing him on the Big Ten Network for television broadcasts, but Kevin Kugler would be a name that I'd really like to see. I don't know. I think he might be too busy to be able to commit himself to being the voice of the Huskers. And kudos to him. He has earned his spot. I just don't know. I don't know who sits in that chair next. So,
Well, luckily, Greg, you do not have to decide. Although Fred says, oh, jeez, I'll learn how to highlight these comments one day. He says, I think Greg should replace Greg Sharp. Then he could get Minnie free tickets to stalk Dylan up close. This is not a bad idea.
it's also not the first person who's said that. Josh said something too over the weekend. He's like, too soon. I said, yeah, it's too damn soon. First of all,
plus nobody wants to hear what you're drinking in Husker Nation.
You know what? You look at the hundreds of people who are here right now. They're here just to find out tonight, and all the other stuff. I think I've told the story before about how I auditioned to be the PA announcer guy for Husker women's basketball. Right before the PBA opened. They didn't want.
You need to tell this story. No, wait. We have not heard this. I haven't.
You haven't?
No. Please.
No. We're not doing
that. Yes. No, because I have to excuse myself for a second.
Okay. Which means she's still not going to hear the story, apparently. So 2012, I want to say it was September, I got wind of the fact that the University of Nebraska was looking to hire a public address announcer for Husker women's basketball. The Pinnacle Bank Arena was just getting in the finalizing stages of being under construction. And I submitted an application or whatever the process was back then. And they said, yeah, if you want to come up and audition. They had sent me some scripts and things like that. Shut up, Fred. They had, they sent me, so basically some things to say, a little bit of the live read scripts, things like that you hear inside the game, and scheduled my in-person audition. So I did. I drove up to Lincoln. I remember I had dinner the night before, actually at a Valentino's in Lincoln with a buddy of mine. And then the next day got it, whatever hotel I was staying in, showered and looked good. Black slacks, black shirt, red tie, beard. If you want, I had a full beard back then. And drove out to the PBA, ran lines in I had 2003 Jeep Cherokee Sport back then that I took up there. Ran the lines again, walked into PBA. It was raining this day, and met the people, sat down, and they're feeding you information in your headset, and you have to read. It was weird. It was wild to hear my voice over the PA system there at the vault. And they said, "Are you you don't live locally? How is this going to work?" And I said, "I'll move. I'll find other work up here, in Lincoln. I don't care if I'm bagging groceries. Just the opportunity to kind of start working for the, when my opinion, or at least my perception, the athletic department." And so I did the audition and didn't get the gig, obviously, but had a lot of fun. It was really cool. I kind of joke that I was one of the first ones to be able to step foot in PBA. It was a fun memory. It didn't work out, but had it. Who knows what would have? I think I would at the time would have tried to get a job in Lincoln radio, but yeah, didn't work out. And now I'm doing something that I love, and I have the freedom to hang out with all of you Holgormaniacs and co-host this wonderful show with Minnie every week. I probably wouldn't be afforded that opportunity if I was the public address announcer for Husker women's basketball there in Lincoln. So
we are so grateful they didn't hire you.
Yeah. I like how
okay.
Wade says
Greg?
maybe your voice hadn't changed yet. Fred says probably had a Peter Brady moment and his voice changed. You know how it is. And I don't want to sing that song. Never mind. Let's move on.
Okay, Greg, Jeep Grand Cherokee Sport?
No.
So that means
Jeep,
it was
not a Jeep Grand Cherokee, a Jeep Cherokee Sport. I don't even remember. I don't even think
that's a two-door. That's a two-door, right?
It was four. It was four-door, but I think it had crank windows. I don't think it had power windows. So.
Okay.
I took
I
that.
Can see that.
Vehicle
I can
on a
definitely see that.
So.
Oh. Yeah, but you have done many play-by-plays.
Yeah.
This is you're very comfortable doing that.
I loved doing calling play-by-play was my favorite part in terrestrial radio. So.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, shoot. Maybe you'll get another chance one day.
I don't think so.
Maybe we'll just do more watch-alongs then, and you can pretend.
Raji, hit us with the score update, brother. He said, "Damn Canadians."
Oh.
That means that Canada must have taken a lead on the U.S. in the Four Nations championship.
Yeah. Okay.
Fred says, "I couldn't get through the audition without cutting Blue Chew ads. It just didn't work." So that might have been before. That was before I was aware of Blue Chew.
How do you even become aware of something like that?
You listen to other podcasts that talk about it. You listen to them all the time, and so yeah, 3-2 final in overtime. So damn it, the fact that we beat the crap out of Canada earlier this week, both on the ice and on the scoreboard, doesn't change the fact that now we have to look up there and bow to our hockey overlords. So.
Okay, well, should we just touch on men's basketball?
No, we need to talk about softball. They're 9-2.
Yeah, well, and Jordy Ball was number one player in the country.
Yeah, National Player of the Week.
So. That's insane.
It's not surprising. She's from Nebraska. She had gone, played most of her career at Oklahoma, and was, I think, a national champion down there. Decided to come back to Lincoln, come back home. Got injured right away last year, and now it's she's back. She's back in champion form. So it's good.
She is. Yeah, and she said that she felt like she needed that time off. to get everything right. Probably take some time for herself, I would imagine, and get your mind right too.
Hey, Minnie, can you read Wade's comment from 1029?
Do you want to put it up there? Or
No, I want you to.
why?
I feel like being really lazy right now.
Well, I wanted to talk about basketball, so that's what we're going to talk about then.
Okay, sorry, Wade. You're right. It's still a blue pill. It's not needed to enhance your ability. Just give you a little extra confidence in the bedroom.
Okay. This has become an ongoing inside joke for anyone who's newly watching, because Greg came up with an ad all on his own years ago that I thought was like a paid promotion, but it wasn't.
I have never received a dime or a free sample from Blue Chew.
Why would you? Okay.
I'm not saying I need it. I'm just saying it'd be nice to get paid.
Yeah, well, all right. So basketball, men's basketball, we were on such a hot streak. And then
we weren't again.
it was sad. Yesterday, we fell to Penn State, who was last in the conference.
Honestly, you got to qualify that. They're not just Penn State. They're worst in the conference, Penn State.
How did we do that?
Honestly, I feel like and I hate saying this because I love Fred Hoiberg, but we play to our competition. Like if they're good, we play a little bit better, but if they're bad, we play a little bit worse. So
you really think that? You think that is what we are made up of? I mean, you saw what Fred Hoiberg did to his hand. Did you see the whiteboard?
Yes.
That he put a hole in during halftime? You saw that. You think that he's going to allow the team to play like crap and not get all fired up?
I didn't say he didn't get fired up. I just said they played like crap.
It's not anything that he did.
No. Vince says men's basketball like watching a bipolar schizo. Never know what you're going to get.
Kind of true. Maybe we just, maybe Husker Bob is right here. And maybe we just need to keep providing whiteboards for Fred Hoiberg too.
I've put my hand through drywall before, so bring it on.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good either.
It was fine.
Was it to motivate a team?
Me, no.
Okay.
No, we don't need to get into the specifics of why I put my hand through drywall Christmas Eve of all damn days.
Okay, then we don't. Yeah, you're right. We probably don't need to talk about that. But I think it's okay if you do it to motivate teams.
Okay. Come on.
And I think James, what are you waiting for? Come on, just jump on the bandwagon with the rest of us. He just doesn't want to be disappointed. This is what we're made of. James Boardman. He says, I haven't watched a basketball game since January. I'm done with Hoiberg. So is he one of the Husker fans that's calling for Hoiberg to get kind of... I mean, aren't we a contender for the playoffs now? Like, aren't we going to the...
No, we were a bubble team, but you can't lose. You can't lose to Penn State. And,
the worst.
Gotta maintain.
Yeah.
Yeah, James, he's sick of the roller coaster. I don't doubt it. Wade says you can't physically I like the physics behind it. You can't physically punch a whiteboard unless someone's holding both sides. That's right. Otherwise, you're just knocking it off the tripod. So.
I think we need to try this. We need to put that theory to test.
Okay. That's what I'll do. I'll get a little tripod. I'll get a whiteboard for next week, and I'll try to put my fist through it without someone holding it.
Whiteboard. What are we going to call this? Challenge?
The whiteboard
White.
punch
Okay.
challenge.
The Hoiberg whiteboard challenge. Say that 5 times fast.
It's like Mythbusters. We're gonna try to find out if it's plausible that you can punch a hole in a whiteboard without somebody holding it. Both sides.
Yeah.
I'm ready.
You feel like punching a whiteboard?
I feel like punching a lot of things some days, Minnie.
Oh, gosh. Okay. Let's calm down, everybody. Let's just calm down. Take a deep breath. Yes.
Let's do this. We know what the people are here for.
Okay. Well, Greg, let's see here. The only thing that I have not brought up, and neither have you, neither has Chad, which is so weird, is the possibility of the new college football playoffs.
We talked about that at the beginning of the show, didn't we?
Mm-mm.
Are you talking about something different?
Oh, you mean Nebraska being a contender?
Being a dark horse? Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. No.
Okay, I'm so sorry. I didn't know.
You do realize that the Big Ten and SEC met this week in New Orleans.
Collins?
Yes. And the reason is they want it because there's this memorandum that was signed memorandum that went around to all college football heads. Apparently, nobody's seen it, but we've all heard about it. That said that teams are agreeing to give the Big Ten and the SEC all the power starting in 2026 to decide what happens with college football playoffs because of the fact that they basically, it said, if you guys aren't going to do what we want, we might as well just go and form our own playoffs.
Yeah.
Okay. And in 2026, ESPN takes over the rights through 2031. So for 5 years. And what that is going to look like, supposedly, is 4 automatic places for an SEC team. So 4 SEC teams, automatic. 4 Big Ten teams, automatic. 2 ACC teams, and 2 Big 12 teams, as well as 1 wild card that could possibly include Notre Dame if they make, the rankings and have a winning season. So what did we think about? And let me just add one more thing. So the reason that they got together in New Orleans is because next week, the college football playoff committee is getting together and they are discussing things. So the Big Ten and SEC people, the head honchos, were told by all of the people that have a voice, this is what we want you to say. So next week, they're going to Dallas to tell them this is what we want. Now, it's not going to happen next season, but it will happen as soon as 2026. And what that the reason this is good, one more thing, is because if you take the top teams in your conference to play in those top 4 spots, you're looking at better rivalries that do not hurt your win-loss record to get to that place. Does that make sense?
No.
Okay. So say Nebraska plays like an LSU.
Mm-hmm.
They're not in our conference. Say we lose to LSU.
I see. Out of conference, non-conference games, or okay.
Yeah. So it's not going to hurt our conference win standings. And if we are at the top in the conference win standings, we'll still make it to the college football playoffs. So you will have better supposed. You won't have those gimme games so much, those cupcake games that, even as fans, we're like, really? Do we have to play UTEP? We have to make this as interesting as we can, right? So you'll have better competition.
Okay.
What do we think about this, Greg?
I do not like the concentration of power. Like, I'm not. I'm going to say this as diplomatically as possible. I wasn't following college football in the Big 8 days, but I would love to go back to a modified version of the Big 8. I don't like the super conferences. I understand and I realize, and I've come to terms with the fact that it's never going back. Like it's only, because of the amount of money, Nebraska will never again be in a conference with Kansas, Kansas State, Iowa State, Missouri. It just is not going to happen. I don't dislike the amount of money that's coming to Nebraska. I dislike the amount of money that's going into the sport in general. I don't know. It's a concentration of power. I'm not comfortable with two conferences that represent 35 to 37, maybe a quarter of all the Division I college football programs, or FBS, I guess, saying this is how it's going to be. I don't like that. It's getting, I don't know. I'm just super uncomfortable with where college football is going. And again, I realize that it's been heading this direction for a long time. There's no putting the toothpaste back in the tube, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't have to like it. And I don't. It's so, I don't know. It's so obnoxious at this point.
Okay. Perhaps. However, there's nothing to stop a Big 12 team from beating the crap out of an SEC team. There's nothing to stop an ACC team from there. It happens, right? Now Indiana, for instance, okay, he came from James Madison, right? What's his name? Old Signetti. What's his name?
Signetti.
He could possibly stay at James Madison and actually show the rest of college football we matter. Don't you think that is good? I do.
The resources at a James Madison would never equal the resources at the smallest of the Power 5 or Power 4,
I agree.
Power 2, whatever school. So you'll still always have the Davids and you'll still always have the Goliaths, except this is going to turn out more in the Philistines' favor. Like the Davids are about to get
No, Greg. My point being, Signetti brought all of his coaches and all of his top players with him.
Yeah, but he didn't have the resources at James Madison like he had at Indiana. And Indiana doesn't have a ton of resources.
Right. But they also had a great schedule. My point being, if he stayed at James Madison, who's to say, given this new college football playoff scenario,
he would have been about a 7 or 8 win season. It would not have been what it was at Indiana. It would not be. It would not be a playoff contender.
Just hear me out.
Okay.
What if he won They won all of their conference games, and they beat a couple of, let's say they play some Big Ten and SEC teams. They beat them. Wouldn't that look good for James Madison? Oh my gosh.
So you'd have let's okay. In this scenario, I don't do I have a pen?
You need pens. Pens and paper. Always. Get with it.
All right. So I'm going to do a little bit of just a little bit. Pardon me while I make very quick, small calculations. So in this situation, you have Ohio State, you have Penn State.
Don't.
What?
Okay, really? My point being, okay, he doesn't necessarily have to beat out the Ohio States and the Penn States. He has to beat out, what, 2 teams from there? Only 2.
Yeah, but you're still
And
talking
he
about.
did that easily. He did that easily.
But I think you're still talking about. Okay, so then what happens? Then you get a 11-1, 12-0 James Madison into the playoffs, and they're still going to get boat raced by any other program. I don't see how this is good.
It could happen. It could happen. That's all I'm saying. And
it could. Anything can happen. But I just don't. It's not for the betterment of the sport at this point.
Guys. Okay. Here's what we have to realize. Ohio State lost to Michigan. We almost beat Ohio State. If we would have beat Ohio State, they wouldn't be national champions. Do you realize that? It's like it's that razor thin. It's like luck plus talent plus a good schedule plus all this stuff has to add up just for you to get to that point. And I'm just saying it gives these other schools a chance. Mind you, it's slim, but it still does. Okay. You can disagree. That's fine.
Well,
we're going to continue this conversation. I'm sure it's not the last time that we're going to talk about it. What?
I don't know if you are familiar with Charlie Day.
Yes.
But Fred says, oh, shit, here's where Minnie breaks out her Charlie Day map of how we win and Dylan becomes king of England.
That's all I really care about. I really don't care about these other schools. Although I have to say, my brother who lives in Wyoming, he follows he goes to all the Wyoming games, and they were horrible this season. I mean, way worse than you could ever even imagine. And they were doing pretty good last season. But what happens to these smaller schools is if they have a good player or a good coach, these other larger schools go and they pull them and they pay for them.
Yeah.
And that's just too bad.
Well, that's what's going to continue to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I think somebody said it a few minutes ago. See if I can find. Disparity is going to grow. Yes, Husker Chuck says at 1044. Disparity, you're going to have, again, it's going to be the game of the have and the have-nots. The SEC and the Big Ten teams are going to go out and poach these players from other schools. And so you're going to have top level and, top shelf and drinks, players, programs, I should say. So.
Yeah.
It's not. I just don't think it's not for the betterment of the sport.
Yeah,
that's my opinion.
Okay, well, we get more games.
It's not going to convince the SEC to play more than 8 conference games. So
that's not true. It is on the docket that they're going to start playing 9.
Is it on the docket like for it to be discussed, or is it? I feel like it's on the agenda for discussion, but they're not actually going to move forward with it.
They're going to do it. They're going to do it. Husker Chuck, change the subjects. Thank you. And he says, Wyoming Stadium is at the highest altitude of any T1 school.
War Memorial Stadium.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for that. I appreciate it.
I don't know why you started that Fred comment. Like, you know it's going to get read before the show's over.
I didn't. That's not me. That was an accident. That was an accident. I was clicking something else.
Mr. Raji says, what if big schools stop playing smaller schools? That's exactly a lot of the smaller schools who depend on that blood money, for lack of a better term. They're going to start realizing that they can't afford other athletic programs.
Yeah.
You know, if they're not being paid $1 million or $2, whatever, $1 million or $2 million dollars to come get their brains kicked in, they're going to be like, well, goodbye women's tennis, or, you know, whatever. Their operating costs, or their budget's going to take a hit. So,
yeah. Well, Greg, there's a couple other starred comments that have to do with this topic. I don't know if you want to go ahead and take those first.
This topic?
This topic.
The only one I see here is Fred's saying, would Dylan be a well drink, a Dylan Teeny, a slow burn with a hint of Axe body spray and sadness? Maybe a little bit of mousse on top?
No. He's your top shelf. Don't.
Here we go. I didn't know this. Husker Chuck with a random comment says satellites in geosynchronous orbit are about 22,500 miles above the surface of the Earth.
See, we're educating people here.
I had no idea it was that far.
Neither.
Hold on. I got to do math real quick.
No. This has nothing to do with sports. And so we aren't going any further than that.
Why does it? I mean, if you had to guess, and please guess, don't Greg like I did. How many miles would you say is the moon from the Earth?
Greg, come on. Not right now. Ask me during the day. Not after we've had an hour and a half conversation about Husker sports.
We've been doing great. Oh, Husker Chuck, don't do that.
What? What do you do?
You answer my question.
Thank you, Husker Chuck. See?
I mean, technically it's 238,900 miles. I had to Google that.
I'm glad.
Greggle. But I would have never thought that 22,500 miles above the surface of the Earth is the sweet spot for the geosynchronous satellites. I would have thought, like, I don't know, 100? 200?
I wouldn't even have thought about it.
I think
it does not even enter. It does. Those things don't enter what goes in or stays in even. So.
Yeah. All right. So you were talking a little.
Here's what I'm going to do. I'll go ahead and take some of those starred comments.
Okay.
Vince Watson, I gave you the opportunity and you passed.
I was going there now. I didn't know how far back up I had to scroll. I'm sorry.
Okay. You want to go ahead?
Vince Watson at 1042 says NFL light is what it's turning into. Not wrong. It's becoming the minor leagues.
It is wrong. And I'll tell you why.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And Vince Watson, you know I appreciate all your comments. He also is in Wyoming, by the way. Did you know that?
No, I don't stalk most of our.
I don't either. I just pay attention to some of the things that they say.
Well, look
Vince
at you with
Watson.
your memory.
Yeah.
One of us clearly doesn't drink during the show.
Vince Watson. College football isn't turning into NFL light yet because, as Matt Rule pointed out in his interview with Josh Pate that aired on Monday, In the NFL, you get one top draft pick. In college football, you can pay for as many top players as you want. You can have all the 5-star players that you can afford. There is no limit as to how much money you can spend.
Give me the 5 Hart kids and 4 wins a season. No, I'm kidding.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's see. Vince also says the guaranteed seeds are not a good thing, in my opinion. And Fred says to Vince in response, Scott Frost gave out guaranteed seeds. And Fred, come on, man. Husker Chuck just said this right now: no salary cap, no rules. You spend as much as you want, which is going to, it's I'm sure going to come as a shock to many of these guys when they get to the NFL and they're making less money than they are in college.
That's what I mean.
I go back to a movie that you probably have never seen, Minnie. Did you ever see the movie Basketball?
Greg, it's not the first time that you've mentioned this movie. So, yes, I have seen it.
Okay.
Because, as you know, I always go through the comments after a show. And if people are commenting about things, I want to know what they're talking about. So, yes, I've seen that movie based on this show referring to it. Only because of that, though.
There's a line that's repeated twice or stated twice in basketball where basketball was made, gosh dang, almost 30 years ago, like 1997, I think. Shaq was still kind of a newcomer in the NBA, and they made the comments like, they're talking about endorsements and things like that. The rich, the bad guy in the movie, he's like, where do you think Shaq made all his money? And one of the main characters like, in college. So that's kind of the joke, is that a lot of these guys could end up making more in college than they do in the NFL. So,
Well, I was reading some past notes today that from last off season, trying to see kind of what we were talking about at this point last season. And we were actually excited
about last year.
That's
what I'm scared to know what we were talking about last year.
So, well, it was basketball, but the football that we were talking about had to do with returners on the offensive line. And yeah, we were excited about Bryce Benhart and Ben Scott, yes, and Turner Corcoran.
Justin Evans.
And, well, in particular, those three, and Ben Scott and Bryce Benhart, because they had played so many snaps and had all of that experience on the offensive line. Did you realize those guys are 23 years old? And I'm sure last season, okay, because NIL is fairly new, okay? When Bryce Benhart started playing college football, they didn't even have NIL, right? I wonder how much he was getting paid in name and image and likeness to play. And I wonder, because we only had 4 players invited to the NFL Combine. And last season, we didn't have any players drafted. Is it likely that he is going to be drafted?
Benhart will, yes. Look for him on Saturday. He'll be a Saturday.
Really?
Yep.
Okay. That'll be interesting.
I think with Benhart, believe it or not, and some people go like, you're crazy. He had a few missteps here at the end of the season, but he improved in the latter half of his career than when he came in. The tools are there. Like the raw ability is there. It just needs to be honed a little bit more for the next level. But he'll get drafted. So
Okay. Well, we will see in April.
And how?
Okay. Did you ever want to mention the Cam Jurgens thing?
We'll talk more about Cam Jurgens next week, but I do want to say that Cam did have back surgery this past week. On Tuesday in Los Angeles, he had some nerve pain, and so he had a back procedure with Dr. Robert Watkins to alleviate that nerve pain, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. He is a full recovery is expected by July in time for training camp, and it was reported that Jurgens fought through significant back pain during the Eagles' Super Bowl run. It's why he didn't start in the NFL championship game against Washington, and he only came in after the replacement went out with the knee injury. He's an all-pro, or I should say all-pro, Pro Bowl center in his first year as a starter after Jason Kelce retired. So, and he was drafted in the class of 22. We'll talk about him a little bit more next week. We'll talk about another member of that 22 draft class who went in the same round as Cam. By the way, spoiler alert, his name is also Cam. We'll talk about the Cams and other Huskers in the NFL next week, as we're already to 11 o'clock, and we don't want to. Well, first of all, I'm ill prepared for that conversation.
Okay.
And we don't go too much later.
Well, it's just, I think it's really interesting how he was able to kind of turn his football career around. I mean, he didn't do much as a Husker. So,
who, Cam Jurgens?
Yeah.
Well, he came out of high school as a tight end and got turned into a center by Scott Frost and struggled early on with Adrian Martinez, and then was, turned it around enough to be a second-round draft pick. So,
okay. Well, I guess we will discuss that.
We'll discuss it next week on a very special. Y'all are going to be blessed.
Greg.
Next week, yes. I was going to talk up your show, but I guess we're not going to do that. So
you can do that. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you, the viewers of this fine show and all the other great shows, which there used to be a lot more, now it's just 2, here on Coronation, YouTube, Facebook, and X. You can be blessed. You got Fred joining Minnie on Monday night for Monday Night Therapy, and she's going to need some therapy coming out of that. And next week, we know we're talking some Pro Big Red here on the 5 Heart Podcast. So it's gonna be a fun week next week.
It is. I can't wait. Okay.
I'm ready. You ready? Let's go.
Let's go. Wait for. Has anyone talked about Texas and USC not having spring ball? Also, that did come out this week.
I didn't know that.
They canceled their spring games. Told you.
It's an
epidemic. I said, Matt Rule, Nebraska has set a precedent.
So what you're saying
it makes perfect sense.
We might be seeing the end of the spring game.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I also think because of the way that the college football playoffs are going, that the bowl games and possibly even our conference championship games aren't going to be as important. They'll probably go away too. But we'll discuss that again next week.
Haas jumping in here after 11 o'clock.
Hi, Haas.
Coronation meetup for Nebraska versus Michigan on 9/20.
Okay. I'm in. Why not? Okay, put it in your calendars, everybody. Tentatively. 9:20.
Nope.
Okay.
I'll be there. Sorry.
Carl Pence says, Minnie and Greg, could you please get Coach Osborne on the show at some point this year? Coach O turns 88 on Sunday, February 23rd. We don't have much time left with the great one. We will absolutely try. I will.
I don't know
Actually,
if he's ready for
I
us.
will. And I think it would be fantastic. Do you know who else I think? Do you know who else I'm considering asking?
Is this like peek behind the curtain, or is this like an off-air production meeting type of conversation? So
Okay,
here's the problem.
I'll save it.
Yeah, here's the problem with us having guests on the live show is there are not a whole lot of guests who'd be like, let me drop everything at 9 o'clock Central and come and talk with you two.
Yeah, especially you. You're right.
Especially
okay.
That gentleman's 88 years old. So,
James Boardman says, wait a second, you were praising Deion's roster turnover strategy earlier. In a way, I suppose we were.
No, not we.
I represent the show. So yeah, we were. It's okay.
Hoss, no. We're not going to do an interview with Mel Tucker. That seems like a bad idea all over.
Yeah.
All right, let's take another one here.
I actually like that idea. Good idea, though.
Oh, we were talking about rosters and paying players, and we're just going to rapid fire through a few of these from a couple minutes ago. Husker Chuck says no salary cap, no rules. Wade says you can only buy 105 players. And Husker Chuck says college has 105 player roster. NFL is 53. Somebody else said 53 plus 14 practice squad players. So
that is a huge discrepancy because we're talking the NFL has, I mean, it seems to me with all the numbers I've heard in the past, their budgets are way bigger, right?
For NFL?
And yes. And so why in the world? I mean, we're paying millions now. We're sharing revenue. We're doing all these. We have 105 and the NFL has 53. Wow. That is a big discrepancy. Another thing we need to talk about next week.
I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. 9:14, James Boardman says, Harburg, our savior.
Yes.
And a couple minutes
savior.
After that, Beetleby says, am I bad wanting a different quarterback?
Yes, you are. You're very bad.
Sounds like one person's opinion. And a moment after that, Beetle says, am I bad not liking Raiola?
Yes, you are. Very bad.
And Husker Bob says, Hikers, I think I meant Huskers, a dark horse if it's a 16-team playoff. But we talked right at the outset of this, I don't know, presentation.
2025 Nebraska is the dark horse contender via Sports Illustrated. Number one dark horse, in fact. There are only 3 total. We're number 1.
Yeah, but dark horse is still like, outside.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care.
Wade suggests we could talk to Tom early in the day and record it, and we could ask questions before we talked to him. So that is, if we could get Dr. Tom online, I'm not opposed to it, by the way. I can suit up. I can look presentable. Don't you worry about that. If we can get Dr. Tom on, we will absolutely make sure you all have plenty of advanced knowledge, and then you can email your questions to me for Dr. Tom, and we will we'll
fire him out. Yep.
We'll ask the questions. So James Boardman says you can only interview Mel Tucker by phone. Video streaming would get you banned from YouTube. And
okay.
Stephen says, I'll believe Nebraska is a dark horse contender when they actually win versus a top 25 opponent. Not wrong. I mean, usually I don't lean into the negative or the pessimistic, but Nebraska does have a history of shitting the bed against quality opponents. So,
Listen,
oh crap, I'm in trouble.
we're not going there.
Got the pen out. Look, I can do that too.
Much.
Hold on, I can do that
Much.
too. Listen.
Okay. Here's
Listen.
the final thought I'm going to leave with you guys. Okay?
Listen.
Much of life is how you perceive it.
Listen.
Okay? Stop it. Stop. See, I came on as a Husker fan who's never seen a winning season until this past season. Okay? And I know you guys, you're... Oh my gosh, I don't know why I'm even trying to talk to you guys about this.
This is Fred. This one's Fred's fault. This one's Fred's fault. He said my pen looks like a pregnancy test.
I know.
I haven't peed on anything in a while, so.
Okay. I forget where I was going with this. Greg, on that note, it's been 2 hours. Let's wrap it up.
James Boardman says, recent history against top 25. I grew up when we bitch slapped top 25 teams.
I know.
And look at this. See?
Hi, Scott.
Somebody says, wow, Greg wearing red and Minnie is not.
All right.
Nope.
You asked for it. Where is red?
I think what Steven's trying to say is make Husker football great again.
There we go. Got my Nebraska hat on. Happy?
Know if that counts.
Of course it does. It has a big N on it.
It's just a hat.
I have a scarf too. And a jacket.
Okay.
All
right. We square, Minnie. This has been a fun show.
Yeah, let's do it.
I can't wait for next week. Again, if you're just joining us, if you're Braska Rascal and you're coming in at the 126th minute, make sure you're here on YouTube, Facebook, and X this Monday night, February 24th, 8 o'clock Central, for Monday Night Therapy, as Minnie Hunt will be having special guest from the Holgormaniacs on Thursday night and chat on Monday night, Mr. Fred Sacco himself. I don't know what to expect. And when I don't know what to expect, you should all be afraid, be very afraid. So with all that being said, we hope that you have a fantastic weekend. Stay warm if you are in a part of the country that is not Arizona, apparently.
Yeah, I don't need this.
Degrees. Stay warm. Stay safe. We can't wait to see you here next week for the 5 Heart Podcast once again. For my co-host, my co-pilot, my great friend, Minnie Hunt, I'm Greg Mahachko. This is the 5 Heart Podcast. We remind you each and every week that 5 Heart is all the heart you need. Minnie?
And go Big Red.
Go Big Red.